I'm going straight through him.
Whoa!
He won't have to wait. He don't have to find me. All the running I'm gonna do is right at him. He ain't got to worry about finding me.
Worried about finding.
I know not only will we be watching, I know the world will be watching.
And that's what I thrive on, the world watching me perform.
Right.
So really, that's my ego right there, people watching me.
I mean, you still, I think, hold the record. You're still on the record, top 10 record. You still own at least 5 of those numbers.
Well, this is number 1 now.
Do you like who you are, Mike? When you are in fight camp, do you like that person?
Wow, I can't believe that. No, I don't like that guy too much.
I completely understand that.
Because that guy don't give a fuck about nobody's feelings.
But if you're not that guy.
I don't think I'm 58. Do you think I feel 58? When I'm fighting them young in the gym and they're bashing me, them big strong motherfuckers, and I'm bashing them back. You think I feel 58? You think they're not trying to hurt me in that gym?
Yeah.
So they can get a reputation?
Yeah.
Young 30, 28-year-old motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You gotta work hard. You know, when I signed to do this fight, I'm out here playing bulls. Yeah, I'll fight that. And then I said, now I gotta do that work. Whoa, holy. See, I'm talking now I gotta do the work. And I think, why the fuck I do this shit? And that goes through my mind too. Why the fuck did I do this? But I'm putting in that work and I can't go home. My wife can't touch me. Stop, leave me alone. Don't touch me. And I'm like that. And sometimes my wife is in the room and I'm like, ah! Because I'm in pain, I'm suffering. So what the fuck am I doing this shit? I promised myself I wouldn't do this to myself, my body, my family again. But I put myself in that. I put myself in it. I don't know. That's just who I am. I'm a fear-based person. My whole life is based off fear of failing, fear of succeeding, because succeed may lead to failure in another direction or in a higher participant of that direction. And but I know how to control my fear. My fear doesn't dominate me. You know, I have a relationship with my fear.
And you're going to put him to the test November 15th.
Absolutely, yeah.
How are you feeling about that upcoming fight?
I'm looking very much forward to it. And I put in the work, so I'm not really worried about anything. I put in the work. There's nothing else I can say. I put in the work.
You looking, me and Henry combined ain't like you right now. You tight again.
230.
230. Is that the biggest you've ever, well,
in my
training
fight weight, yeah, around 230. But my body's changed a little bit. My mass, I got more mass when I'm working out. You just put on weight, you put on fat, and you turn that fat into muscle, and so you become heavier.
What do you think of this Jake Paul fella?
I always say that if Jake Paul was not a YouTube star, if people just looked at him like an up-and-coming boxer, you would say this kid's got a lot of talent. Right. He's dangerous. I think his strength is that people, for whatever stupid reasons, they underestimate him because of what his background was.
Right.
And they think there's no way that some guy who became famous off of YouTube is going to be an actual legit boxer. Right. But if you look at what he's done, the time that he's put into it, and the ability that he has, just the sheer ability, he's a very good boxer.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan explained that Jake Paul's background is the major reason people underestimated him. From sensational headlines to social media speculation, the narrative of a staged fight gains traction. Boxers and promoters often manipulate media coverage to hype their events. But is this merely marketing, or are we witnessing a genuine loss of authenticity in boxing?
Tell these people who keep saying that this fight is scripted for Jake Paul to win.
Well, just come to the fight and you'll see. And listen, I started Jake off and I'm going to finish him.
Jake Paul, same question. People keep saying that this fight is scripted.
Clearly they don't have a high IQ in here, but that's a federal crime, Brian.
As both Tyson and Paul adamantly reject the idea of a scripted fight, the tension only amplifies the anticipation surrounding the event. Fans are left to grapple with the uncertainty of what will unfold in the ring. Will Tyson's experience and raw power dominate, or can Paul leverage his youth and adaptability to secure a victory? Regardless of the script or lack thereof, the stakes are high, and the commitment from both fighters to prove themselves in this iconic matchup is evident. This refusal to entertain the idea of a staged fight fuels the narrative that, when it comes to boxing, anything can happen, and both athletes are prepared to deliver a thrilling spectacle, whether scripted or not. As the boxing world prepares for the clash of titans between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, a fierce debate rages among experts. Many argue that despite his age, Tyson brings a level of skill and experience that Paul simply can't match.
Mike Tyson, what he does is two-dimensional. He's going to come at you trying to knock you out. Now, you got to try and stay away from him, stay away from his power. I seen him working out the other day, and he throws some good combinations. So those 6-punch combinations, he has to make sure, I'm talking Jake Paul, make sure that he's not in the way of those punches, because Tyson's a real fighter.
Jake's my boy. I don't know how I feel about it. Is it going to be like the Roy Jones, like a glorified sparring match? I don't know what it does for Jake. Like, Jake, if you knock out the biggest legend in boxing of all time, do we think the hate goes up or down? So I don't get the upside for Jake in this.
With Tyson's storied legacy and Paul's rapid rise as a social media sensation, there's a growing belief that this fight could be more about entertainment than genuine competition.
It's bullshit, man. It's I mean, how old is Mike Tyson? 60?
57.
57. Jake Paul,
27.
You are a disgrace of a man. You are the epitome of weakness. You are the scum of the earth. The fact that you even have a platform or anything of that nature is a slight on society. You truly make me fucking disgusted. And if I ever encounter you in real life, I hope that I just don't lose my shit.
I just feel like Jake's too locked in, too in it, been in it too long. With like in the last 5 years, who's been in it more? I think that matters. And what is he, 30 years younger? I just don't see this ending well for Uncle Mike Tyson.
Are we inching closer to the Jake Paul fight? We know you want it.
Slowly but surely, he can run, but he cannot hide.
You think he beats Mike Tyson, or you think Mike Tyson puts him out?
I think he beats Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson obviously he gonna look great, I think, for his age and things like that. But at the end of the day, Jake Paul been doing this. He locked in, so I think he got it right now.
Tyson has been relentless in his training and, in his usual brutal fashion, left no doubt that he sees Jake as a young upstart who's about to step into the lion's den.
What kind of mindset do you take into this fight?
Bad intentions.
Every word Tyson has said about Paul has carried a sharp edge, each statement almost a challenge, daring Paul to face the full force of his power.
Not long, as soon as I catch him, because he's gonna run like a thief. I don't see how he's gonna make an exciting fight by running all day. He's supposed to be the young guy. He's supposed to walk right through me. I'm an old man. He's gonna run all night.
Joe Rogan believes that Paul, despite his boldness and rapid rise in boxing, should feel genuine fear stepping into the ring with a fighter like Tyson.
Tyson's mind has switched over into war. Like, he was doing this interview. Someone said to him, "You look like you're in your 20s. Like, what are you doing?" He goes, "I just eat raw meat."
What are you eating? Raw meat. Well, I'm gonna have to eat it now because my opponent's gonna be raw meat.
I was like, Jesus Christ, he's in this mode. He's in savage mode. If I was Jake Paul right now, I would be shitting my pants.
Oh, bro, if I'm fighting this guy and I see he's eating raw meat, I call the thing off.
It's all the experiences that he has had as a conqueror. When a man has smashed men before, like when no one can stand in front of him, that is in his mind still. There's a dark chamber in his mind that he can open up.
Yeah.
And I think he's got it open.
Do you believe that I will actually beat Mike Tyson? Yes. What the f? Do you really think that you're gonna beat Mike Tyson? Yeah.
Ooh. I love you, Mike.
Same.
And I'm very nervous for you.
Thank you for caring.
I do care. I care about you. And I care about my brother. And I know the path he's on right now. And it's ruthless, Mike.
I agree.
The general public probably think that Jake Paul will probably lose.
That's what
because
they
he's
think.
a YouTuber, boxer, but they don't understand how hard we train and how hard we work. And
With only a few days left in the most anticipated fight of this era, between a legendary old veteran and a new sensation, many notable names in the combat industry have shared their expert analysis and predictions about the bout. Tyson Fury, hailed as one of the best heavyweight fighters of this era, thinks that despite the ongoing hatred directed towards this fight, it will be an extremely lucrative event for boxing and everyone involved.
You know, I think it's fantastic for boxing. You know, you got a legend in Mike Tyson. You've got a YouTube boxer who's come into the game and blew it up, and he's got millions of followers and millions of views and millions of eyes. Good, bad, or indifferent. Some people love him, some people hate him. So I think it's a really good spectacle for boxing. It brings a lot of people to the game. And listen, who am I to say, oh, Mike Tyson shouldn't be boxing or Jake Paul shouldn't be boxing? Good luck to them. They're both going to make what I call a ton of money out of it. So isn't that what it's about?
Contrary to popular belief, Fury thinks that both Mike and Jake are evenly matched based on how, despite being away from the ring for more than 2 decades, Mike is still more talented than Jake, who is comparatively new to the sport.
I just don't know what's not to like. Oh, okay, the guy's 57 years old, but he's a former undisputed world heavyweight king, and one guy plays computers for a living, and he's come to boxing about a year ago, so pretty even match.
Tyson also added how at the end of the day, it does not matter who will triumph or who will lose, as all any hardcore boxing fan really wants is to witness this once-in-a-lifetime spectacle.
I admire them both, and I wish them both the best of luck, and I hope they put on a great show, which I know they will. And I see Mike's training hard on his videos and stuff, and Jake Paul's always in shape, so I'm looking forward to a good event. People say, oh, it's shit, and this, that, and the other, but I bet they still watch it.
Unlike his brother, Tommy Fury does not seem to fancy this fight, stating how even though this fight will be a huge thing in terms of commercial success, it still does not add any credibility to either fighter's career, especially Jake's.
I think it's a lose-lose situation, because if he beats him, he's knocked out a 60-year-old man that everybody loves, so he's not going to get any credit for that. And if he loses, he's got knocked out by a 60-year-old man. So I don't really know. I think, it's on Netflix, yeah, it's a big thing, congratulations, but the fight itself, I don't think it's one that people really want to see.
Tommy, who has faced Jake in the past and won, ridiculed the 27-year-old fighter for his atrocious choice of picking Mike as an opponent despite their 30-year age gap.
He couldn't beat me, so he's going to fight granddads now, which is terrible, What you was isn't what you are now. Mike Tyson's an absolute legend. He deserved the utmost respect, and listen, it is what it is.
Tommy also addressed the comments about him ducking Jake for a rematch, clarifying that he was never offered such a deal, and all these absurd claims from Jake's team are nothing but a cheap ploy to garner attention before his upcoming fight.
Oh, listen, mate, I don't need him for nothing. At the end of the day, he's the one who lost. He's got the big fat L on the record, and I'm undefeated still. But listen, he talks a lot of crap, Jake Paul. It is what it is. But listen, I'm happy. I'm recovering from the surgery, and all that video I posted the other day I just wanted to knock him out this time, because I'm really not happy with the first performance I did. So I just want to get back in there and knock him out good and proper this time.
Nate Diaz, who is a renowned MMA fighter and also another one of Jake's past opponents, thinks that this fight will not go in Jake's favor, no matter the apparent advantages he seems to possess as compared to Mike.
I want Mike all the way. Mike's the man, you already know, and Jake's young, explosive, and got nothing to lose in every fight. So I think that's what he's got going for him. One day everything's gonna switch. One it's gonna be like he's supposed to be the guy who wins.
Pressure changes.
I think they'll be like a little different,
Divulging his reasons for choosing Mike as the winner, Nate stated that even though the Kid Dynamite might not be as explosive as he used to be, he still has great experience and an unprecedented skill set.
Mike Tyson's the GOAT, man. So I'm on Mike Tyson's side. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think Mike could take kind of...
I think he's seen it all, yeah. I think he knows exactly what he can do.
Talking about past opponents, Roy Jones Jr., who faced Mike for an exhibition fight in 2020, also thinks that this bout is excellent for boxing as a whole because everyone, no matter the age, will be hooked to the screen.
I think it's a great fight, great marketing situation as well because so many people want to see it because of the young lion and the old lion, you know? So it's a great situation for them, a great situation for fans because it gives him an opportunity. It gives Jake a chance with Mike being as old as he is, you feel me? So
sharing his expert analysis of the fight, Roy thinks that it will be Mike who will win based on him still having his old tenacious spirit and brutal power that can knock anyone down no matter the age or size.
I think it's a great opportunity for both fighters, but I still think Mike probably is going to be a little too much for Jake.
Not undermining Jake as an opponent, Roy advised him to stay on guard and deflect any of Mike's dangerous jabs in the first couple of rounds, as those will be the deciding factor of this fight.
If he can get to the late rounds, yes. If he get to the round 4 or 5, maybe, yeah. But he has to get out of the first 3 rounds. Still got the power. That's why I say Jake has to get out of the first 3 rounds. Get past the first 3 rounds, he got a chance. But the first 3 rounds are going to be devastating.
Sharing somewhat of the same outlook as Roy, Anthony Joshua believes that fights like these are good for the sport as they help boxing grow in general by bringing new and fresh audiences into the midst of the old rigid fan base.
Let's say we divided this crowd in half and you've got half of the people that are hardcore boxing fans and half of the people that love a certain person that's into YouTube.
Like a YouTuber, yeah.
But that person brings all of these people into boxing, which benefits.
Anthony explained that one of the main reasons for the criticism directed towards this fight might be due to the loopholes that Jake has taken to get into it, which despite being understandable, should not be enough to condemn the overall event.
I personally think it's really good. I think that the boxing hardcores, like the boxing fanatics, they don't like it because it's like, why are they disrespecting our sport? There's an Olympic system that you have to go through, and once you're qualified there, then you go through to the professional ranks. Whereas someone with a profile can just come out of nowhere and fight one of the best guys.
Predicting the winner, Anthony weighed in on Mike's age, stating that despite being one of the best heavyweight fighters in the world, he is still almost 60 years old, which gives Jake a somewhat clear shot at victory.
The thing I'm worried about is Father Time. That's one thing that has never been beat. And Tyson's, he's older now. But I pray that he comes out healthy, but I think Jake Paul because of youth. That's the only thing, because of the youth.
Vladimir Klitschko, who is a former heavyweight world champion, stated that this fight will be one of the most memorable fights as the world would witness the return of one of the greatest fighters against a talented youth hungry for glory and eminence.
Mike Tyson, at his age, is facing a YouTuber that is much younger and hungry and capable of boxing as well. So it's going to be a good example for people that are at Mike's age.
While directly addressing the people who seem to be concerned about Mike's age, Vladimir poetically emphasized that if a fighter has staunch willpower and self-confidence, then their age will never be a hurdle in their path.
You can only be too old in your mind.
Yeah.
If you control your mind, you control everything in your life.
Sharing the same outlook, veteran boxer and former world champion Michael Nunn seems to think that no matter the age, Mike Tyson is still the fighter that he was, and if he is able to activate even 1% of his destructive powers, then he can easily dismantle Jake.
If Mike Tyson just goes out there and do what Mike Tyson does, he's going to obliterate. He's going to just, who wants to be at the end of a Mike Tyson left hook to the liver or to the chin?
Talking about the importance of age in any sport, especially combat sport, Michael stated relatively the same thing as Vladimir, that for some fighters, age is just a number because they possess an unprecedented mindset that allows them to slip back into game mode.
Well, and age is a big difference. Now, if Tyson got the condition and the skill set that we know that he's got, it's gonna be hell for the captain, man. I wouldn't want to be in the ring with him. With him actually fighting and wanting to fight and hurt you, good luck. That's what I can tell you.
Michael also commended Jake for his past performances and his growth as a young fighter given his rather orthodox past career. According to Michael, if Jake plays his cards right and properly utilizes his age and size advantage, then he might have a shot at winning.
Okay. Oh, is it 14? Okay. You're going to be hell for the captain. Especially with Tyson being so fast and furious first 2 or 3 rounds. Now, hopefully his condition stands up because the guy's 30 years younger?
30 years younger.
And he's young, he's big, he's strong.
He is big and strong.
Yeah.
With the fight being closer than ever, both fighters are engrossed in their respective intense training regimes that, despite being different, aim to achieve the same ultimate goal, which is to win the fight of the century. Jake, who is being deemed as the underdog in this fight, regardless of his youth, has been training vigorously to make a resounding statement which might be good for him, as recently he has been ruthlessly dropping his sparring partners during his training camp.
Don't charge at me, Tyson.
Being the first-hand witness of the growth that Jake has undergone in the last couple of months, his brother Logan Paul thinks that the public might be making a critical mistake by undermining Jake as an opponent because deep down, he is a vicious fighter.
I want you to be okay in there, Mike. And I want you got to take him serious, Mike, because
I take him extremely serious. I take him extremely serious. These people don't take him serious.
No, they don't. And it's such a mistake because he's a real killer. Mike, like he wanted to be a Navy SEAL before he started boxing. Like in high school, he wants to be a Navy SEAL. He wanted to go kill people on behalf of his country. Prior to you has fallen into with Jake in just telling themselves like, oh, this kid's a YouTuber. Everyone he fought has not been good enough. They're not me. And then they all end up on the canvas the same way as the last one.
Logan even went as far as to issue a warning to Mike on his podcast about Jake being different this time. According to Logan, in the last couple of months leading up to the fight, Jake has become an absolute machine capable of destroying anything in his path.
I love you, Mike.
Same.
And I'm very nervous for you.
Thank you for caring.
I do care. I care about you. And I care about my brother. And I know the path he's on right now. And it's ruthless, Mike.
On the contrary, in another podcast, Logan pointed out how Mike, despite being old, is still a ruthless machine, which is evident from the training footage that he shared on his social media, with the most prominent one being him sparring just like his old days as a champion.
Yeah, he's going to be sparring guys who fight like Mike as well. I saw the same footage you saw, and I think that everyone has seen, because it gets 60 million views a pop on IG. And like, I know he's old, but goddamn, he can hit so hard and he's still so fast in the ring.
Agreeing with Logan about his analysis, iconic WWE fighter Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, stressed the fact that if on November 15th, the old Mike Tyson from 80s makes an appearance, then it will be over for Jake Paul.
If the old Mike Tyson shows up for 5 minutes, like, how do you get past that? Right. He doesn't need to be there for the whole fight. Just needs to be there for 5 minutes.
5 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know. I hear your strategy and I see your strategy. I don't know that I wouldn't just run for 2 or 3 rounds and hope that he gets tired.
Meanwhile, another WWE legend seems to disagree with this analysis. In his recent appearance on Logan's podcast, Hulk Hogan appeared anxious about Mike's health based on the vicious transformation that Jake has gone through in the last months.
He's too strong, right? Yeah. And he's like really actually super strong. The weight he pushes in the gym is impressive.
Yeah, last night, as soon as I saw him set the guy up, he kept going over that route. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, seriously. And he has a left hand now that looks like it's firing off. He's.
Yeah, I love Mike to death. I don't want to kill Mike. Jesus.
Tyson. Bro, we have to talk about this.
However, this wasn't always the sentiment felt by Hulk, as a few months ago, he was one of the most prominent supporters of this fight, even labeling this as the fight of the century.
I'm excited about it. I'm kind of glad it's rescheduled because I don't want any excuses. I want both men at 100%. And I got a feeling this is going to be the fight of the century, brothers. This is going to be a good one.
In the same interview, Hulk stated that though age might be a crucial aspect in the combat world, in the case of a brutal fighter like Mike Tyson, it does not matter, as he is just a beast who is equipped with skills that are out of this world.
If it was anybody else, I would say yes. But Tyson has that eye of the tiger, brother. I mean, when he gets focused, he will seek and destroy. And I see that bad dog look in his eye now. It's like when you don't trust a bad dog that might bite you at any time. That's the look he's got. I remember that look from 25 years ago, bro. It's kind of scary. I just hope Jake Paul steps up and is ready for Iron Mike.
Also, believing Tyson to be the superior boxer going into this fight, MMA fighter turned professional boxer Francis Ngannou believes that there is no doubt that Tyson will win this fight based on his exceptional boxing prowess.
Listen, I've seen how Tyson moves around, just like to show me stuff. It was like this footwork moving, like you move like this, and I'm like, hold on, like, you know, calm down.
Not holding back, Francis even warned Jake about Mike's power, stating that if he is not cautious going into this fight and thinks that he might be able to overpower the old veteran, then he is gravely mistaken.
Mike Tyson's gonna beat my ass.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
Mike Tyson's knocking him out?
Either way, I think Mike Tyson will beat you.
Damn, so we better enjoy our time with you while we got it, brother.
Even though Francis holds immense respect for both fighters, he seems to be partial towards Mike going into this bout based on the fact that Mike was one of the leading professionals who helped him in the transition from MMA fighter to boxer before his fight with Tyson Fury.
But either way, if he comes out to be true, of course, I'll be there to support Mike.
It's very interesting. He'll be 58 years old by the time the fight happens.
Yeah. But he can still kick some ass. There's no doubt about it.
Unlike his fellow MMA fighter, Conor McGregor does not seem to understand the idea of a fight like this, stating that even though he wishes well for both fighters, he still thinks that fights like these are absurd and pointless.
Oh, geez, I don't. It's a bit strange. You know, is my interest? The interest is a low one. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Clarifying his statement in a later interview, Conor emphasized that he has nothing against events like these between two combat fighters of different eras or sports, as he too wants a part of this and understands the financial influence that they can have.
Oh, yeah, right. well, look, we kick-started that. It was the first crossover event in combat sport.
Floyd, right?
When I fought Floyd. It was kind of the opening of that.
One thing that he does seem to dislike about these fights is the nonsensical nature behind them, as they don't add any value to either fighter's career, which is the same case here for both Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, as ultimately they will be fighting for nothing but money.
Doing these little smash and grab fights, you know, you might get a few likes, but there's nothing substantial to it. It's hollow. It's hollow. It can be profitable, but it's hollow.
Conor also highlighted the negative influence that these fights might have on aspiring athletes, stating that though the picture that is being painted by influencer-turned fighters like Jake Paul seems nice, it is meaningless and deteriorating in the long run.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, hustlers, and they played a great game. But for me, it does set a bad precedent in the industry, because what you've got now is, and I'll say this to the young athletes coming up, men and women, don't aspire to be, you know, one of these like YouTuber fighters.
Right.
Aspire for world titles. Aspire for Olympic. That is how you rise. That is how forever. That is how you etch it. And I'm noticing a trend in young fighters coming up that are not even interested in competing in the amateur scene, or rising up to win a national title or a European title or strive for a world title, or even thinking about pro titles in the world game. Do you know what I'm saying? You need the gold on the waist.
Jorge Masvidal, an MMA fighter turned professional boxer, agrees with the analysis made by Conor by stating that this fight is just ludicrous, as there is no credibility in Jake fighting and beating down the withered down version of a former world champion.
Could Jake beat him? Yeah. But is that Mike Tyson? No. It's not fucking Mike Tyson. We all know who Mike Tyson is. But obviously he's not fighting Mike Tyson. He's fighting the shuttle Mike Tyson. I don't know, man. Maybe I overthink things like this in this matter too much, but there's too much.
Talking about the performance that Jake has displayed so far in his career, Jorge stated that even though Jake might have an edge in size and age, he still lacks the ferocious mentality that you need when you are up against a guy like Mike Tyson.
Smoking a blunt, hit a couple pads and went and fought, and Jake is just not a mean guy, you know. He's just not a mean guy in that boxing ring, you know, especially when he's faced with some of that.
Directing his attention towards Tyson and his chances in this fight, Jorge thinks that age is the biggest enemy of any combat fighter, even if you are the baddest man on the planet Earth.
And Tyson, I don't care who you are, nobody's above Father Time. Tyson's what, like 6 years old, I think?
Tyson is 57.
57.
And Jake Paul is 27.
Yeah, you know, man, that you know, no matter how much of an athlete and mean Tyson was in his prime, This is way past his prime, so I just don't know how much time.
KSI, who is also an influencer turned boxer and has supported this venture in the past, seems to draw the line in this case by calling it a lose-lose situation for Jake, as in either case, his career will take serious damage.
And honestly, I just think it's sad, bro. I think it's super sad. I don't know why Jake took it. It's a lose-lose. Literally, he knocks out Mike Tyson and he's beaten what? An 08. Mike Tyson is 57 years old.
Yeah.
Like, yes, in his prime, this would have been crazy. But now it's like, it's just...
Looking at it from a legacy perspective, KSI emphasized that even though fights like these do tremendous numbers and are highly profitable, they are still worthless in terms of creating a legacy or gaining any prestige among your fellow fighters.
I guess because, like, legacy is my thing. Like, I just feel like for Jake Paul, his legacy is going to be, he can knock out old people.
Not mincing his words, Chael Sonnen, who is a former MMA fighter and promoter, bluntly stated that this is one of the most baseless events that have ever been orchestrated in combat history, and no real boxing enthusiast will ever watch it.
This thing is going to look terrible on TV. You think this thing is going to draw more than Mike versus Roy? You think this thing is going to draw more than Fury versus Francis? It's going to look ridiculous in an 80,000 seat arena. And what would be the reason that they're boxing? Money. Yep, sure. Yeah, we understand that. That doesn't work. It's a flop. It's a flop. Floyd and Connor in the fight capital of the world did less than 12,000 tickets. Come on, man. In Texas? Come on.
Chael also looked back on one of the latest promotional appearances of both Mike and Jake during a Cowboy game, where despite both fighters being in high spirits, many noticed that Mike seemed tired and worn out, which is an unnerving sight leading up to the fight. Further addressing this appearance and concerned fans, Chael stated that no matter what the age factor will be a major problem for Mike Tyson on the fight night, and anyone who does not consider it might be delusional.
Tyson, most valuable promotions in Netflix will bring the biggest event in modern boxing history. Paul versus Tyson, right here at AT&T Stadium on Friday, November 15th.
Another notable factor that Chael highlighted was how even though Mike was the apex fighter of his era, he has been away from the professional ring for decades, while Jake is an active fighter who has been gaining valuable experience with every other fight.
I don't know how Mike would have done with Jake that night. That was the night Jake put down the basketball player. And Mike didn't look terrible, he just looked tired that night.
Michael Bisping, who is a famed analyst and former MMA fighter, issued an alarming warning concerning Mike's health going into this fight, stating that though many might not like Jake as a fighter, he can fatally injure Mike, which will be a huge tragedy.
For manslaughter, if you put the man to sleep, if you knock him out, if you were to kill Mike Tyson in the squared circle, which is a real risk, sadly, that does happen. He's an older man. He's almost a pensioner. If you do that, I say charge you with manslaughter, because this is grade A.
Regardless of this concern, Michael thinks that Mike appears to be in great shape for someone who is almost at retirement age and has suffered health issues recently, along with the fact that he has been away from the professional ring for decades.
Tell you what, Mike Tyson does look like he's in decent shape though, and fair play to him. A 58-year-old, to get yourself in shape, to put the work in, to have that kind of work ethic, that's not easy, man. It's not easy at all, so respect to him for that.
One distinct aspect that Michael pointed out was how it looks as if even Mike might not be taking this bout seriously based on his attitude through the press conferences, and how this fight might only be a ploy for him to get his head back in the game.
Think that's what Mike Tyson's using this whole thing as. A reason to train, a reason to get in shape, to challenge himself, to test himself, to have a bit of fun. Yeah, okay, make some money along the way, but use Jake Paul as just a reason to occupy your mind, to get better, and as I say, improve your health, and yeah, make some money along the way.
Patrick Bet David, who is a renowned internet personality and analyst, also thinks that this fight is a bad idea for Mike Tyson's health, as there is no chance that he might come out of this fight unscathed and unharmed, even if he ends up securing a miraculous victory.
By the way, Mike's gonna be 58 years old at this fight, and Jake's gonna be 27.
Holy crap, 30 years.
And can Mike still beat Jake or no? At this, the 30-year difference, Jake gets.
Talking about the repercussions of this fight on Jake's career, Patrick stated that no matter the result of the fight, Jake will not be hailed as a champion or warrior, as he seems to believe, because no one will ever give him credit or fight someone who is 30 years older than him.
Night, story's written. Mike Tyson knocks out Jake Paul, okay? Midnight, July 20th, story's written. Jake Paul knocks out Mike Tyson. July 20th, midnight, decision, Jake, decision, Mike, okay? Whatever. Which one is a bigger deal? Is it a bigger deal if Mike beats Jake Paul or Jake Paul beats Mike Tyson?
Being quite pessimistic about this fight, professional heavyweight boxer and former world champion Joseph Parker called this fight an unfortunate and sad event in the history of boxing, which will be very hard to watch as a die-hard boxing fan.
Jake Paul has the youth on the side, and with each fight he is getting better and better. So it's just, I think it's a hard fight to watch. It will be a hard fight to watch because you just don't want to see Mike. If Mike comes out and knocks him out, then what we're going to be like.
Talking about the golden rule of how power is the last thing to go, Joseph appeared skeptical, stating that even though Mike appears to be in immaculate shape in the training clips that he posts on social media, no one really knows what goes behind closed doors.
So the power, I think, is the last thing to go. But at 58 years old, how much power is left? And you know, we do see short clips, but you're right, we're not sure what happens before and after those clips.
Yeah.
So just we'll see.
Raising the same concern as many others, Joseph stated that the time away from the ring coupled with old age can prove to be the downfall for Mike in this bout, because everything he seems to lack, Jake has plenty of.
Listen, I'm all for boxing and all for big fights, but Mike Tyson is a legend, and no matter how great he was in the past with the ferocious style that he had and punches that he thrown and knocking everyone out, 58 years old is old for a fighter. And Jake Paul has the youth on the side. And
Showbiz the Adult, who is famed for his boxing commentary and analysis, seemed to be a part of the group who is concerned about Mike going into this fight, especially after witnessing Jake's last fight against Mike Perry, which ended in a ruthless fashion.
As a huge Iron Mike Tyson fan, I'm concerned. I am. Mike, I don't know what's going on with your ulcer, what's going on medically, brother. I really don't know. I am starting to get a bit concerned, and Jake Paul isn't getting any worse. He's actually getting better and better. Do I think Mike Tyson could knock out Jake Paul?
Believing that the reality of Mike's condition is being kept hidden, Showbiz stated that though Mike has all the skills to deal with a fighter like Jake in his current situation, that might be too much for him.
I think he would destroy Jake Paul if he's not sick. And I really don't. I need updates on Mike Tyson to know if he's not sick. But as of right now, I am actually terrified. After the whole medical scare with Iron Mike Tyson, I must admit I am terrified. And I think that's going to actually bring more eyes to the event.
However, one important thing that Showbiz has highlighted in the past is that Mike hates embarrassment more than anything, especially if it is in a professional fight. So if Jake thinks that he can get an easy win, he might be making a crucial judgment error.
You can get out of the way of one punch, maybe two, but combinations, dipping and moving, that's yours, Jake. Professional record, Mike hates embarrassment. Mike is not going to embarrass himself. Mike is not going to throw away a professional fight for Jake Paul.
With the myriad of contrasting opinions on the internet ranging from applause to sheer concern, Mike's training seems to be in full swing, with him taking part in countless sparring and conditioning sessions under the keen surveillance of renowned and adept experts.
Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's the one.
Looking at the most recent clips shared by Mike, it seems as if the veteran fighter is focusing on improving his defense strategies by extensively undergoing many chin and neck exercises, which have been a staple for him since his earlier days as a champion.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3, 4, 5.
Along with these training camps, another thing that has been garnering a lot of attention is the vicious trash talk that the fighters have been participating in, which consists of various knockout threats and thinly veiled insults directed at one another over social media.
Day 3, you still want to with me?
But yes, I'm going in there, and now it's a pro fight. It's on my record, and I'm going to put him down. And if people are pissed about it, then go watch some volleyball.
Keeping the same momentum and generating more hype around their upcoming fight, both fighters have also participated in countless press conferences and face-offs where the constant hostility among the fighters, whether fake or real, is exhilarating.
Congratulations on the baby,
During an event like this in New York, which is Tyson's hometown, the fan favorite Idol expressed his gratitude for the boxing community while simultaneously shutting down any rumors about the fight getting canceled due to his health.
It's happening, we're all here.
How prepared are you to knock Jake Paul out?
I'm very prepared. I had a small adversity. I got sick, but I'm better.
Being a pro at trash talk, Mike threw brutal verbal jabs at Jake, calling him an incompetent fighter who is nowhere near the level he claims to be because, since the start of his career, he has failed to accumulate a faithful audience.
Is he really a young killer? Let's look at it. Who else is he gonna fight to make this happen? Listen, you just have to listen to the fact. We got a YouTuber fighting the greatest fighter that ever lived.
Jake, not taking keenly to these insults, countered back at Mike, stating that despite being undermined within the community since the beginning due to his past career, he had proven time and time again that he is a great fighter.
Every time these fighters sit across from me, and it's YouTuber, it's Disney Channel, all that, and then you end up on the canvas, and you'll see, it's gonna be no different here, I promise you that.
Jake also did not shy away from blasting the audience and the fan base, stating that even though he might not get the credit for this fight, he has immense confidence in himself and his abilities as a fighter.
Hey, New York, shut the up, New York. Hey, boo yourselves. Boo yourselves, New York. Hey, New York, New York, New York, you're just like Mike Tyson. You were good 20 years ago. New York. And this is to make history. You know, people think I'm gonna get knocked out by this strong, powerful guy. All the people in my comments saying, look at his power, he's gonna get KO'd. People are yelling at me in the event. But what happens when I put this man to sleep? This is not a joke. He's saying that it's gonna be my funeral. He's saying it's gonna be my wake. He's gonna kill Jake Paul, all of these things. And that's why I love Mike, I respect him, but we're not friends anymore. Until November 15th, I'm knocking this motherfucker out, and we're gonna see who's dead.
Moving on, unlike any other fight of this era, this bout between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul has reached new heights of popularity, which can also be attributed to the fact that this fight is going to be the first ever live event broadcasted by a major streaming service such as Netflix. Talking about this major leap, Dana White, CEO of UFC, expressed his elation and also shared his plans to bring more such possibilities to the sport in the near future.
I think that Netflix should have gotten into live sports years ago. I think they're late to the game, but they are a force. They're a force, man. And when you look at the amount of homes that they're in, worldwide.
However, despite this excitement, Dana didn't shy away from brutally criticizing Jake Paul for this fight, stating how this fight is not only absurd, but also horrific no matter the deal.
Tyson's 58 years old. You know what I mean? Jake fought a guy who was his age and was also considered a boxer, and he lost.
Dana also pointed out how Jake as a fighter seems to be devoid of any sportsmanship that must be present in a good athlete, and the only reason he seems to have chosen this path is to gain notoriety and fame.
Jake needs these guys. Jake needs Tyson and needs all these other people, because that you know, everybody's going to tune in to hope that Mike Tyson knocks him out.
Right.
They're not tuning in because they think Jake Paul's a great fighter and they want to see him compete.
Being a fan and a close friend of Mike, Dana appeared extremely anxious about the repercussions this gimmick of a fight might have on 58-year-old Mike, who has already suffered many blows to his health in the last couple of months.
I think that Mike Tyson has a puncher's chance against anybody. Mike's 58 years old. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I hate doing this because Mike gets mad at me every time I do this, but Mike shouldn't be fighting.
Another person who seems to be a part of Jake Paul's hate club is the former boxer and champion Carl Frosch, who dismissed this fight as a whole by calling it nothing but a cheap gimmick and a ploy orchestrated by Jake and his team to gain some relevance in the division.
But it all just looked really contrived, it looked really fake, and Tyson gets a bit giddy and starts jumping around and smiling. He does a stupid little half-hearted push, and I mean, Jake Paul got booed, but I don't know, it's not even pantomime, it's worse than pantomime, because for me, as a professional boxer, retired pro boxer, it's just not enjoyable to watch.
Carl also explained that the main appeal that this fight seems to have till now is that the general public and boxing fans from all generations want to witness a possible comeback of Mike Tyson, where he ends up destroying Jake Paul.
I want to see Jake Paul get flattened, and that's half the appeal, and that's why a lot of people are going to be tuning in, thinking, can an old Mike Tyson rekindle any sort of flame and land one of them big nasty hooks that he used to throw and render Jake Paul unconscious? But unfortunately, in the real world, that's not going to happen.
Fearing that this might not be the case in reality, Carl commented on how despite Mike being one of the best heavyweight fighters of all time, he is an old man who will be fighting a younger and powerful boxer who can land solid punches to have the potential to seriously harm Mike.
He is old when he steps in the ring against a young man, and you can't beat the clock. Father Time waits for nobody, and I just think it's a shame that Mike Tyson's going to get in the ring with this idiot, fake Paul.
Ringing the same alarm, notable promoter and former world champion Oscar De La Hoya stated that no matter how lucrative a deal might have been, it is not justifiable to push a boxer of Tyson's caliber to fight at this time.
I saw him the other day. I love Tyson. I told him he can punch. Of course, he's got a puncher's chance the first 3 rounds. I'm a little scared of Tyson getting hurt after the 3rd round.
Right.
Jake Paul's a big boy. He's 26 years old. Tyson's 61. I'm happy for Tyson that he's making money and that Tyson still loves it and he's getting in there, he's in shape.
Right.
But
unlike Dana and many other professionals, Oscar seemed to commend Jake for the progress he has made so far, but still advised him to choose his opponents more wisely, as that will have a long-lasting impact on his career.
You say you want to be a world champion. You say you want to take this sport serious. Then take it serious. What is this? This is not a popularity contest. I'm actually praising Jake Paul here to take this serious, because I really truly feel if he fights the right fights and takes the right path to that world title, he can actually get there.
Just like his fellow promoter, Eddie Hearn emphasized that November 15th will be a sad day for many die-hard boxing fans such as himself, as no one really wants to watch their idol get beat down by a mediocre fighter like Jake Paul.
You're asking the wrong guy. I'm a hardcore boxing fan. He's one of my heroes. I find it very sad, but it's a big event. I understand people are going to watch it, and it's entertainment, I guess, but for someone that idolised the guy growing up.
Paul. Being a well-known promoter and someone who understands the pull of money in this case, Eddie stated that even though there is no doubt that this event will be highly publicized and would amass tremendous profit, it still does validate its existence.
They're looking at it for numbers. They're looking at it for, hype. And I get it, I understand that this freak show may well do good numbers. But I think if you genuinely care about the sport and the history of the sport, and particularly the legacy of one of the greatest fighters of all time, it's not something you'd ever consider.
Eddie also questions the moral compass of those who justify the fight. According to Eddie, people need to understand that not everything that tends to be entertaining should be normalized, as these types of bouts usually come with the price of one fighter's well-being.
It's just a different world, isn't it, that we live in, this new generation. But good luck to him. I'm sure it'll do good numbers, and hopefully Mike Tyson doesn't get hurt, because it would be a travesty for boxing.
Callum Welsh, who is a beloved fighter in the combat world, especially MMA, thinks that the trend of old fighters coming back to fight young fighters is an atrocious thing, as it not only cheapens the sport, but it also seriously damages the legacy of old champions.
A lot of people right now are talking about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. What do you think about that fight?
That's a joke, man.
That's a joke.
That is a joke. Mike Tyson, a legend, why are you doing that, But that's what I don't understand. When people are legends, right, why do they try to ruin it,
However, one thing that Callum seems to understand is that the most important thing in a combat fighter's life is to make vast amounts of assets. And in most cases like these, the veteran fighters are offered huge sums that make it harder for them to reject these contracts.
$30 million.
I'm doing it. Alright, $30 million. Alright.
He didn't even blink. He said, "Oh, that's the reason why." Okay, let me tell you the reason why. 30 million.
This shit I would do for 10 grand. If you give me 10 grand, I would do it.
Sharing the same outlook as Callum, renowned sports analyst and writer Gareth A. Davies expressed his disappointment in Mike Tyson being forced to fight, which might be due to his facing adverse financial issues in this phase of his life.
Yeah, it's a shame that he's having to box, because obviously he's going to get several million for it. He's going to be paid very, very well, and that's what this is all about. It's a shame he hasn't got huge amounts of money, but I'm sure he's doing it for good reasons for himself, to help members of his family or to...
Also, being someone who has been close to Mike since his younger days, Gareth stated that in spite of him not being absent the idea of this fight, he is still deeply concerned for Mike, as no matter what type of beast you were in your youth, age is a cruel thing that stripes you of everything.
He's a wonderful human being. I'm sure you've met him a few times. I've had some deep conversations with him over the time, and more recently as well in Saudi. And he's a very special human being. So I just don't want to see him get hurt. It's a safety concern more than anything else. Because Jake Paul will want a dramatic visual knockout, and it really creates legacy for him.
Ken Shamrock, who was a wrestler from Mike's era, refused to even predict any winner in his recent interview. Explaining this, Ken stated that no one really knows the outcome of this fight, as everything will depend on Mike and his performance.
I won't. I won't, because I don't know what the true outcome would be. I don't. I mean, I'm not saying that someone's going to throw the fight. I'm not saying that at all, but I am saying that Mike Tyson is not his best.
Yes.
He is not what he used to be, not even half of what he used to be. So I'm not betting on it, because I know Mike could beat him at half his best, because he was that good. But he's got that much power still.
While praising Mike for his influence on the sport, Ken stated that even though Mike was a formidable opponent in his youth, currently he is not compatible with Jake Paul, who, despite popular opinion, is a relatively good fighter with pretty decent skills.
But the problem remains is whether or not Mike can last long enough to be able to land a punch. Because if he doesn't, Jake Paul's going to beat him, because Jake Paul's a good boxer.
Meanwhile, another fighter from Mike's era has the complete opposite idea about the results of this fight. Michael Jai White, who has been a witness to Mike's ruthless aura and tenacity, thinks that Mike will be the winner, as Jake is nowhere near his level.
I got Mike Tyson.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't see how Jake pulls this off. I see Mike Tyson punching him in the body, and I don't see how Jake stops that.
Clarifying his analysis, Michael stated that the major downfall for Jake might be his size, as he is not big enough to handle the vicious jabs from Mike, which have dropped even big and brutal guys like Marvis Frazier and Trevor Berbick in the past.
Big guys would hold Mike. Guys with long reach that outweigh him.
Yeah.
I think people that's Mike's weight, with Mike's center of gravity, I don't think there's anything that's going to stop him.
Seeing the myriad of comments and statements, many names from Mike's past have also resurfaced, including his old nemesis Lennox Lewis, who advised Jake to make sure that he steers clear of any right hooks or combinations punches from Mike, as they will still hold considerable power.
No, Mike Tyson, what he does is two-dimensional. He's gonna come at you, trying to knock you out. Now, you gotta try and stay away from him, stay away from his power. I seen him working out the other day, and he throws some good combinations. So those 6-punch combinations, he has to make sure. I'm talking Jake Paul. Make sure that he's not in the way of those punches, because Tyson's a real fighter.
Brushing off the comments calling Mike a washed-out fighter, Lennox commented that after witnessing Mike's training sessions, it is quite evident that he is still the Kid Dynamite that he used to be, as the fire is still burning inside him.
Oh yeah, no, Tyson can throw a punch, he can take a punch, so, he's doing something that he's used to.
Well, I would hope he would go into a fight where he would win. So he's a boxer, he knows how to protect himself.
To pump Mike up for the upcoming fight, Lennox has even made a preposition that if Mike ends up winning his fight with Jake Paul and proves that he still has the beast inside him, then a rematch fight between them can be arranged as well in the near future.
See how he makes out in this fight, and then I'll tell you after.
Evander Holyfield, who is another one of Mike's opponents, also thinks that despite being older and slower, Mike still has the power in his punches, which can be extremely dangerous for Jake if he is not cautious of it.
The whole big thing, I'm telling you, this man fought his whole life for whatever reason he chooses to do this. We already know he ain't gonna be as quick as him, but if he catch him, he can knock you and lose your strength.
Talking about the best strategy that can be employed by Jake, Evander stated that he must stay close to Mike, because if he tries to be too defensive, Mike will push him to the corner and would knock him out very quickly.
But he's gonna be a lot quicker, and if he stay close to Mike, then his chance of winning gonna be great. But he try to stay back from Mike, he gonna get caught.
So in the end, what do you guys think about this fight? Do you think that the old lion will roar once again and win this fight while making the greatest comeback in the history of sports? Or do you think it will be the young hustler who ends up securing the win, along with cementing his name in the list of those who defeated the Iron Mike Tyson? Make sure to tell us about your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to our channel.